To give you just a little quick 30-second synopsis,
Mm-hmm.
I had first come out to LA,
Yeah.
3,000 miles from a teeny tiny town in New Hampshire when I was just
Yeah.
19. And I was in front of the camera. I was acting
Mm-hmm.
small, co-starring roles and recurring roles, a lot of stuff for MTV,
Yeah.
NBC, stuff that you would have seen. But I was an actor. My identity, my whole reason for coming out here was to pursue acting.
Mm-hmm.
And then a few years into it, the industry was so marginalizing,
Mm-hmm.
so sexualizing, so trivializing. And my best friend, who
Mm-hmm.
happened to be my roommate, she was like an older sister type,
Yeah.
was suddenly diagnosed with leukemia.
Oh my.
And so amidst, this pursuit that more and more started to feel out of my control, out
Mm-hmm.
of my value system, I was simultaneously, going to the hospital and seeing her fight for her life. And then I was seeing her in hospice.
That's really
And
hard.
then 18 months later, she died. And I remember it was one of those pivotal moments where I thought, this doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
She's beautiful, she's young, she's talented, she's not gotten married yet, she hasn't even finished her grad program yet, like she wants to be a therapist, like none of this is right. And I remember when she was very, very sick at the end there, I was booked for this really terrible, awful
Mm-hmm.
B horror movie, this like horrible, horrible B horror movie.
Oh
And I
God.
was playing this dumb skater girl, this like sexy, quirky skater
Mm-hmm.
girl. And we were shooting in Vegas. And I kid you not, I was literally being dragged at night. It was a night shoot at like 3 a.m. through the desert
Crazy.
by my feet, because the scene was that I was like dead at this point. It's this like terrible horror movie. I'm being like dragged by my feet through the desert for like no money. I mean, it was like really bad. And I remember, there's rattlesnakes here. Like, this doesn't seem like a good idea. And why is no one concerned that there
No.
are rattlesnakes? And then two, my friend's dying. Like, what? Excuse my language, but what the fuck am I doing? Right? It was just one of those moments. Like, what the hell am I doing?
Right.
And so I think once she passed, it was like within 90 days, I pivoted.
Mm-hmm.
And I got out of the industry, and I ended up wanting to get more creative control. And I was like, I got to get behind the camera. I got to give women more body autonomy and empowerment. I got to help women feel better about themselves on camera.
Mm-hmm.
I was recognizing that it had done such a job on my self-esteem. When I came out here, I was 19. I think I was like 103 pounds.
Oh
And I
gosh.
was always supposed to say that I was 18. And I was
Mm-hmm.
always supposed to be 10 pounds lighter. And my skin was never right, and my teeth were never right, and my hair it was just like
Yeah.
insatiable, right? And
Yeah.
so when I lost her, because of that juxtaposition, this like ridiculous story, I'm getting dragged through the desert, literally,
Mm-hmm.
in Vegas, and she's,
Mm-hmm.
she's in hospice. I made that change so quickly. It was literally like 90 days. I left my agent, I left my manager,
That's
got into
crazy.
photography. And the reason I tell that story is because sometimes there are those moments in our lives
Mm-hmm.
where we're so out of alignment
Mm-hmm.
with who we really are and what our values are that it's
Mm-hmm.
quick, right?
Yeah.
It's like decisive action. It's like, I don't know where I fit exactly. I don't know where I belong, but I know I don't belong here,
Yeah.
right? And so we make this sudden shift.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, I was like 23,
Yeah.
I was a baby. I
Mm-hmm.
would have made that pivot a little differently. I would have done it a little more thoughtfully in some ways.
Yeah, older.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but the other reason I tell that story is because it ended up being this theme
Mm-hmm.
in my life when I look back. Now I'm in my fourth decade.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some time to look back. When I look back at the last 2 decades of being what we call a grown-up
Yeah.
and being a professional,
Yeah.
creative, entrepreneurial person,
Yeah.
I started to recognize, like, wow, this pivoting thing was a thing that happened several times. And I think in a good life,
Yeah.
in an intentional life, that happens, right?